This is Data East's 1982 arcade hit BurgerTime for the Intellivision video computer system. BurgerTime was a wonderful arcade hit. It came out in '82, and it was such a big hit that it was immediately ported to many different home consoles and computers. There's versions of it on the Coleco, the Atari, the Apple IIe, the Commodore 64. If there was a computer back then, BurgerTime was on it. But in 1982, not all home versions were created equally. Some were much better than others, and some were just plain terrible. Now, if the video image on your computer appears to shake a little bit, that's due to some technical difficulties with the RF signaling as I was importing it to my computer. For some reason, the Intellivision 2 was not getting along with my laptop, and it was creating this little bit of a shake going on. I tried a lot of different things, but I couldn't seem to lose it. But hopefully, it's just a temporary problem. So anyhow, BurgerTime was a great hit. It was a wonderful arcade game. It was a lot of fun to play. And as I said earlier, not all video games are created equally on different consoles. At least that was the case in the early '80s. And BurgerTime falls somewhere in between on the Intellivision. It was probably best played on the ColecoVision at the time. But the Intellivision version isn't bad. It generally resembles the arcade game. There's no major drastic changes or anything like that. It looks pretty crisp and clear, and it didn't lose any elements in the Intellivision version. At least anything major. The Atari 2600 version, on the other hand, was a nightmarish travesty that made you want to vomit if you played it. It was a total piece of shit. But all in all, the Intellivision version, very playable, not the total piece of garbage that Atari was, and a lot of fun. Though it does lack a little something that the ColecoVision version did well, and that was the graphics were a little crisper and clearer, and that's about it. I think everything else is there. Also, on my version of BurgerTime here, it looks like I have some kind of a graphical glitch where the rolls look like they're kind of crumbling and broken. But I think that's just due to a dirty cartridge. I tried cleaning it and couldn't get rid of it. But these things happen when you play a game that's over 20 years old. So let's talk about gameplay. In BurgerTime, you're controlling that chef. I believe his name is Chef Pepper or Chef Peter Pepper or something along those lines. Whatever his name is, it's not important. The important part is you're controlling him. And the scary part in this game is that you're controlling him with the Intellivision controller, which was a total piece of shit. So anyhow, you control the chef with the control disc on the Intellivision controller, and although Intellivision has a gigantic keypad attached to the controller, and many games use the keypad to a much greater extent than really needed to be used, BurgerTime, thank God, does not. It uses the keypad to select your skill level and the number of players you want to play, and that's it. So if you have BurgerTime for the Intellivision, or you see it and you're thinking about picking it up, but it doesn't have the keypad overlays, don't sweat it. It's not really used. You could just use the corresponding numbers to select the skill level and the number of players, and that's all it's used for. Now, the 4 side buttons on the Intellivision controller all do the same thing in this game. and that's to shoot your pepper out. You can shoot your enemies with pepper, and it momentarily stuns them so you can walk past them. You have a finite number of peppers. It's denoted in the corner with that P in the lower left, and right now I have 0 peppers because I've used them all. But when you see the bonus items pop up on the screen, like the B in a coffee cup at the very top, if you pick them up, that gives you 1 extra pepper. And those bonus items change from board to board. There it was a coffee mug. Sometimes it's an ice cream cone. Depends what stage you're on. Now, the goal of the game is to lower all the burger ingredients to the bottom of the screen. And you do that by walking on top of them, and they fall down to the next platform down. And they have a domino effect if there's any other pieces of the burger ingredients below them. Once all the burger ingredients are stacked at the bottom of the screen, you progress to the next stage. Now, you do have enemies chasing you, and I believe the one enemy that may be missing from the Intellivision version that was in the arcade was the pickles. But aside from the missing pickles, we have those red sausage guys and the egg guys that chase you. Now, you can use the pieces of rolls or hamburger patties or lettuce or whatever is on the screen. You can use those pieces to kill your enemies. You just walk over them at the opportune time when they're underneath them, and you can squish them. But after you kill your enemies, they respawn in a couple of seconds. It gives you a little quick break. But it doesn't give you an overall overwhelming advantage, except for giving you a lot of points. And that's what the name of the game is with a lot of these early arcade games. It was all about the points. It wasn't about how far you got in the game, it's how many points did you have. Now, the action in BurgerTime may appear to be pretty slow at first, and this slowness in action could be mistaken by a novice as an easy game. But just because the action is slow doesn't mean that it's not challenging. You do move slow in this game, but so do your enemies, and sometimes you find yourself getting cornered too easily by making a stupid mistake, and it takes you a lot longer than you anticipate to turn around. If you went too far on a ladder, you got to turn around like I just did there. It's like watching somebody get hit by a car that's going like 3 miles an hour. Like, you know it's coming, but there's nothing you can do about it. So if you see BurgerTime for the Intellivision, definitely pick it up. It plays very well. Not as good as the Coleco version, but still it plays well. And it plays a hell of a lot better than the Atari version, that's for sure. It's a very fun game. Don't be concerned if the version you're picking up for the Intellivision doesn't have the overlays, because they're really not needed, like I said earlier. I'm your host, Dommie, for Classic Games Revisited. Until next time. And watch out for that killer sausage. And the walking egg with legs. They're deadly. They'll get you.